No, hi, how are you? Sit here. Don't take my picture.
This is a meeting of the Township Committee, October 6, 2014. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Asbury Park Press, the Star Ledger, Daily Planet, and the Two River Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building, and filing with the Township Clerk on January 10, 2014. Committeeman Fury.
Here.
Committeeman Sell. Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sedembrino.
Here.
Mayor Murray. Here. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor the troops serving worldwide, defending our freedoms, constitutions, and way of life. Thank you. Our first item on tonight's agenda, we have a public hearing for the Monmouth County Open Space Grant application.
Is there anyone who would like to speak to the Monmouth County Open Space Grant application? Seeing no members of the public wishing to speak, I move to close public portion.
Committeeman Fury.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedembrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to close the public hearing for the Monmouth County Open Space Grant application. At this time, we have public hearing on ordinance 2014-3117, an ordinance amending chapter 127-19 of the Township Code relating to parking permit fees at the Middletown train station and other lots.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the public hearing for 2014-3117? Yes, ma'am.
Linda Bound, 19 May Court. I just have a quick question. Are the fees now, it's one set of fees, it's the same fees for resident and non-resident, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, I thought so. All right, that's it, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing no members of the public wishing to speak to 2014-3117, I move to close public portion is up.
Second.
Committeeman Fury.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedembrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Our next public hearing for 2014-3118, an ordinance introduction amending Chapter 16 Planning and Development Regulations for the RHA.
Is there anyone wishing to speak to 2014-3118? Seeing no members of the public wishing to speak to 2014-3118, I move to close public portion and move to adopt.
Committeeman Fury.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedembrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. This time we have introduction of ordinance 2014-3119, a bond ordinance amending bond ordinance 2014-3111, finally adopted by the Township Committee of the Township of Middletown on July 7, 2014.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Committeeman Fury.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedembrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held October 20th, 2014. This time I'd like to ask the Township Committee to adopt a consent agenda, which would include resolutions 14-249 through 14-257.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Fury.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedembrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt the consent agenda. At this time, we have Resolution 14-248, a resolution authorizing payment of bills for October 6, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Chairman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt Resolution 14-248. Agenda items for October 20th will have certificates of appreciation and proclamations for declaring October 25th, 2014 Make a Difference Day, while Middletown Day Awards, and Middletown Free and Public Library named as Asbury Park Press Reader's Choice Award for 2014. We'll have approval of minutes for July, August, and September 2014. We'll have introduction of ordinance for the, this is for the conveyance of real property related to the relocation of Fallings Road right-of-way.
Yeah, when we spoke about this a couple of meetings ago, it's the ordinance to formalize the acceptance of the property from the county at the new section of New Fallings Road, which is about 30 years old now, I think, but it was never done in the past, so this formalizes that conveyance.
We'll have consent agenda, which will include resolutions, bingo and raffle applications, and volunteer firefighter applications. For tonight's discussion, we have discussion for RFP for the website. The resolution
Yeah, just simply, we've talked about this in the past, but we've decided to do an RFP for the overall maintenance and upkeep of our website, just to see what's out there. I mean, we've done pretty well so far, but I think it's time to do that again. And so Brian has gotten some information from Todd on this already, and we're working out the RFP.
The multi-year maintenance, or is it just an annual?
Multi-year.
When is that upon approval, when we expect to?
We expect to be out this month, an award in November.
Okay, we have a resolution authorizing prepayment of certain bills. The change order for roadway, report for the Township CFO as to award of note. Change order for roadway storm-related damage repairs. Resolution of need and pilot agreement, Bayshore Village.
That's the,
If you want me to explain, we actually just did the resolution of need. The Township has been working closely with the Bayshore Village community to rebuild the Bayshore Village project. As you know, was significantly damaged during Hurricane Sandy, and at least 4 of the buildings are completely uninhabitable. They have been working with the developer to try to come up with a plan to redevelop the property. That's also the ordinance that you saw tonight that we introduced, or we actually adopted tonight, right? So it's putting standards in place. The other parts of the project involve a resolution of need and a pilot agreement. The pilot agreement will probably be on your next agenda. And that just sets up a payment in lieu of tax arrangement. They already have one in place on this property. It would just be a new one, new and updated version. And these are things that are necessary in order for the developer to pursue tax credit financing for the project.
We have Middletown best practices.
We have, in your package, you saw our best practices application. Once again, we well exceed the number of points needed. Best practices was started a few years ago by the state in requiring all municipalities to demonstrate that they did adhere to best practices in most areas of municipal government. We do. You have to get at least 40 points to 41 points, I believe it is, to get 100% of your state aid. The idea is if you get less than that, there's incremental decreases in the percentages, in the amount of state aid you get, sort of as a penalty. We're well in excess of the points required.
So you get less of your own money back.
Well, not only do you get less of your own money back, but, you know, and it's great, and I applaud the administration for, you know, the oversight that we have, more, if not, probably the most in the state in terms of best practice points. But has there been a municipality that did receive less state aid, or as my colleague says, less of their money back? Because I have not seen one municipality over the last 2 budget cycles through Trenton that has actually gotten anything but state aid being flat.
Yeah, I don't know the specific one. I did hear that year one that there were a couple of municipalities that didn't get enough points. Whether they followed through and actually took some percentage of their state aid, I don't know. But I do recall hearing a couple of municipalities did not meet the point requirements.
It's just sad that the state doesn't have a tighter rein on their own program.
Well, it's ironic, there's no best practices for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Kicking that can.
Do as I said.
That's it.
The street tree removal ordinance.
We put this on as a discussion item. An issue came up recently, and we wanted to discuss whether we should proceed with an ordinance in this area. And it has to do with the ability of a property owner to take down a street tree in front of their home. Common sense tells you they shouldn't necessarily have an automatic right to take down a street tree because it's in the public right-of-way. But we don't specifically have an ordinance that says you can't do it. So we've discussed the idea of coming up with a fairly simple ordinance that would just have somebody make a request to the township so that we can determine if the tree really does need to come down, if it's, diseased, if it's dead, if it is doing damage to a sidewalk or other public properties or even private property. So that at least there's a legitimate reason or basis for taking down the tree. Because in theory, street trees were put up probably by a developer as a requirement from the planning board when their development was approved many, many years ago. So, and there are certainly areas in town where there are some really nice street trees that we wouldn't just want to see taken down just because somebody felt like taking them down.
Spruce.
Yeah, Spruce Drive is a classic example. So I think we can put together a fairly simple ordinance with some basic criteria that would establish when and when you cannot remove a street tree and give the town the ability to at least review a request and make a decision.
And I think some of the street trees may stabilize some of the soils too, especially in sloped areas.
Yeah.
So that's the last thing you want is people taking trees and having washouts.
Yeah, I mean, there may be cases where if a tree's in really bad shape, you can say, okay, you can take it down, you have to replace it with a new one. That might be another outcome of a request like that. So, but right now, there's really almost nothing in place that gives you any kind of ability to manage that. So this would do that.
Okay, under purchasing, we have snow plowing.
This is for the snow plowing contract for 2015 and 2016. It's bid openings on the 8th.
The Middletown Arts Center lobby improvements.
How much are we allocating towards this in terms, I know the thought process is to put a potential coffee stand or something to that effect into the lobby.
It sounds
Yeah. I think we put in our capital budget $100,000.
My concern, and I'll say it again, is that we're going to do something that if we're looking to bring in a vendor, especially if it's a coffee shop type vendor, and I just think we're putting the cart a little bit before the horse. I'm all for the improvement, but specifically, if you were going to get a Starbucks in there, so to speak, they'd want their own build out, and under a franchise agreement with a Starbucks, they would have their franchisee or their corporate people make their own build out and put that infrastructure in for you. So I'm just a little concerned about putting a capital overlay into something that then somebody comes in and says, well, we have our own needs and structure. If you were going to franchise out something, if you were going to do this, kind of for like a local thing, and you were going to hope to get something that we used to have at the swim club, that's one thing.
Well, maybe you do it as a two-step process. Maybe you do an RFP for any interested franchisers, vendors, whatever, who maybe wanted to do it themselves, and if you get a response, then great, because then you don't have to do anything. If you don't, then you either take the next step and do it as...
I'd be more comfortable with that only because, if you were going to do it Dunkin' Donuts, I'm not saying we need another Dunkin' Donuts, but I'm just saying if they were going to, they'd want their own fit out, they'd pay their own capital to do it. That's how they work. That's how these franchises work. So you actually, as a franchisee, have to actually make the capital outlay. So I'm just...
Yeah, it's hard for us to know. We don't know what the market is going to be for, we don't know if Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts type franchises would be interested in the Art Center. They might not be. You might just get some small independent folks, but we just don't know. We've never done this before, so
Right.
maybe the way to do it is
Go
try
that.
both ways.
But there's other franchises out there that are sort of coming up, who may like that, next to the rail station.
Oh, yeah, it's got tremendous
And,
potential.
you know, a very active art center. You know, it's
The
a pretty
question is,
good
would they
plan.
rather put the
Right,
capital into
right.
to putting what they want versus us giving them what we designed?
Especially, they may have specs that they have to meet,
Right.
or else they can't do it. It's not just a matter of, well, we can live
Right.
with this, so.
I did have an occasion to look at the copy of the plans, and actually had no improvements for any build out, for any coffee house or anything of that nature. The improvements here were only to eliminate the ramp and to make a new exterior ramp so that the build out area was possible. So that's the only thing that we did see in the plans when I took a look at it. So there was no set build out that the architect had proposed for a particular, Dunkin' Donuts or anything of that nature. None. It was simply to
Increase the accessibility
infill the
Right.
ramp and increase the usability of the lobby.
Changing some doorways.
Right, so essentially the main door gets raised, you put a new exterior ramp, you infill the ramp, you can now use that lobby regardless of whether or not we decide later on down the road to do an improvement with regard to a coffee house. You have a greater usability of the lobby at the completion of the project, so it has no improvements to it for a coffee house.
It gives you a greater,
Make a building pad, basically.
You're setting it up for someone to do the interior.
Right, but it doesn't reduce, in fact, increases the usability.
so even if you do nothing, you can count that. Thank you.
Okay, we have the Middletown online auction.
We're looking to have an auction of vehicles, equipment, surplus items, beginning of November, I think is when we'll shoot for. Haven't done it in a couple of years.
The material combination bulk spreaders for Brian.
Again, these were in the capital plan this year. These are two brine and salt spreaders. We call them epoch machines. We're also on a separate contract buying redoing our brine making station at DPW, but this will be two spreading machines for the trucks.
And participation in the Middlesex Regional Education Services Commission and Purchasing Co-op.
Tony, the cost of that, to be a member of the co-op?
It's not really a cost, I mean, just,
No cost, right?
no, because you decide to purchase or not purchase through the co-op.
We have Township Committee comments? Oh, I'm just, sorry, just a moment. Did you want to?
Oh, yes, that's right, I want to add one more thing. Since we have no workshop in November, we're probably going to be looking to, we have a high volume of brush that came in over the past 6 months, and that's going to produce more wood chips that we just paid to get rid of some of it a few months ago. We'll probably have to do that again in November, as we're running out of room for it, and we have to get rid of it after a certain amount of time. In the same vein, we're also looking to sell off our leaf mulch at the compost site in Belford. So that should be actually an income, a revenue. Not a lot, but it might offset what we have to pay to get rid of the wood chips. So,
Ted, did we have any takers for, delivering the wood chips?
not yet, no.
Okay.
No, that'll pick up in the spring.
Right.
Yeah,
I think it was a little late in the season.
Right,
I know,
right.
even my wife said it's too late to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it, so.
Some people do like to get, they get an early start.
Yeah,
Before,
I think a
When
full
it's over.
season, we'll see,
right.
that really take off.
And we also will have to increase, because we have more brush in there now, we'll have to increase our contract by about $20,000 for the wood grinding that we do every year, grinding the wood chips for brush.
I'd also ask Ted that in this come winter, around like February-ish time, you might, and I think I said this before, want to contact, or Tony, you might want to contact our neighboring municipalities, especially those who don't have as many trees or smaller areas like Red Bank or Hazlitt, and say, do you want free mulch that we can drop to your site for your residents to come and pick up? I mean, it might be a good benefit for them in a way that we don't have to pay to get rid of it.
That's good, yeah.
Maybe we're gonna make that tree ordinance a little bit more strict, until we can get rid of all the chips.
Well, I mean, if they can make good for it for their residents, it
Yeah,
costs.
Yeah.
Everybody will. Then again, their privacy issue.
Yeah.
Any Township committee comments?
Community Fiore?
Thank you, Mayor. The only quick comments I'll make, one is the committee tonight took action with respect to the train station, and that is an issue that New Jersey Transit forced an increase in, what year was it, Mr. Nelson? 2009. And something that we've been looking at, and based on a number of factors, it's good to see that the work of the administration, the Township Committee, and our attorney were able to kind of look at that contract and see what we can do to help reduce the fees again that we were forced to raise based on New Jersey Transit's their insistence, so to speak, on their portion of the lot. So that's about a 20% decrease. And I think it's a little bit less than 20%, but I think it goes a long way in this economy to help those who take our trains to work every day. So, and I will save the rest of my comments, Mayor, for the next meeting, but plenty of them, and they'll be there quite a long time. I'm
Yes.
sure. It's been a very busy
Be a
month.
packed meeting next time. Dr. Schoenberger?
Very quick, Middletown Day was a smashing success. What did we count, 12,000?
I remember there were over 10,000 pieces of cake given out, so
Okay.
that's at minimum.
Yeah, well, I think the last I heard was between 12 and 15,000 people. It was a magnificent day, so everything was aligned just right. Everybody deserves a lot of credit who put it together. It's a year-long process, I think, putting Middletown Day together. And the staff and the administration, everybody deserves a big pat on the back for being such a success. And the other thing I want to say is October 28th is the SEDS Town Hall at the Middletown Arts Center. SEDS is a comprehensive economic development strategy. And I guess a press release and notices will go out. Tony, what do you think? Within 2 weeks?
Yeah, within about 2 weeks.
Okay, and we're going to invite certainly all the businesses in town, and any resident we would love to have you come down and give your input on. We're going to be presenting some of the areas that are being developed, some areas that we would like to see businesses come into, and then open up to the floor to see what the folks want to see. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to echo my colleagues' comments with regard to a great success on Middletown Day, and I will keep the rest of my comments until the public meeting in 2 weeks. Thank you.
I also am going to reserve many of my comments for the October 20th meeting. Again, though, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Middletown Day, the fireworks, the concert, the cake boss, just the great things that we had that day. The feedback from the community has been just so positive. I haven't heard any negativity at all. It was just a great day for everybody, as it is year after year, and everybody just really continues to raise the bar, raising more money every year, and just getting better and better. So that's definitely something to look forward to every year. I'm also pleased that we were able to make this progress with New Jersey Transit. We have a lot of commuters in town. Every little bit helps, and I think this will have some impact, and again, it's helpful. The only other thing I'd like to mention is the open space grant that we do have, that we did have the public hearing on tonight. Hopefully that will all work out, and maybe we'll be able to put in another field, and just hopefully that will move forward, and we'll be working on that soon too. So, that being said, I'm ready to open up to public comments. So if there's anyone wishing to make a comment from the public, please let me know. Ms. Bound?
Linda Baum, 19 May Court. Just a couple of quick points. I'm not sure you're aware, but the meeting materials for the September 15th meeting are not on the website, which is kind of unusual. Usually everything's there. So I think that was the meeting where the ordinances that were voted on tonight would have been provided. So they weren't available unless somebody caught them in the newspaper. So just wanted to let you know about that we need to get that stuff up there, whatever, those other meeting materials. I also wanted to ask you about the debt that was issued this year. I see that there's a bond ordinance. You know, when there is a bond ordinance, it doesn't necessarily mean that we issue. You know, we could vote on it, it's authorized. But have we issued any debt this year, any notes?
No.
Or is there anything pending?
Notes, yes, no bonds, no.
Do you know the total amount of
I
notes that
don't.
were issued?
I don't, I'd have to ask the CFO.
She's not here, okay. Okay, I'll ask her, I guess.
Right, and we are actually talking about a note sale at the next meeting, so you'll hear
Yeah.
about that.
Okay, I could ask her that. Also, wanted to mention one other thing. We often refer to with regard to Bay Shore Village, the actual name of the entity is correct in the ordinance, not the ordinance, but the resolution. Hold on a second. It's called, let's see, the Middletown Senior Citizens Housing Corp. I actually thought that was incorrect because it's listed differently on the township's website, and it's listed differently whenever we appoint somebody to that board. We call it the Bay Shore Village Senior Citizen Housing Corp. But there's actually no such thing as the Bay Shore Village Senior Citizens Housing Corp. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It would be nice to have a consistency so there's there's no confusion. Right now it's listed as Bay Shore Village Housing.
Yeah, one of the problems with that is, if you refer to it as the Middletown Senior Citizen Housing Corp., they always think you're talking about Tomaso and Daniel. People never think of Bay Shore Village, so that's why Bay Shore Village has become the commonly used term for that development.
Okay, I just thought we should be accurate when we make appointments. But that's it, thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public wishing to make a comment? Seeing no other members of the public wishing to make comment, I move to close public portion and adjourn.
Second.
Councilman Fiore.
Yes.
Councilman Sharpler.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to adjourn.
Well, they were done.